Most retirees ask, do I have enough? But the smart ones ask, how do I keep what I already have without raising any red flags with the IRS? Today, I'm revealing the one move that sounds counterintuitive, but only because the financial media has been wrong about this for years. And the simple process that tells you exactly which account to pull from each year to pay less tax. Miss this in your 60s, and you can't undo it in your 70s. Hi, folks. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Ron Bristol with Advanced Wealth Advice with another personal finance hot take. Today's take is how to create a tax-efficient retirement plan. David had enough money, but how he was taking that money from his portfolio gave the IRS a claim on that income. He can make some simple changes to his withdrawal order and use a simple tax bracket ceiling. Same lifestyle, same income, but less tax. He gets a raise for doing nothing new. And you're about to get that blueprint too. For people with a portfolio over $500,000, retirement income isn't about investments. It's about sequence and source. Which account, which year, which order. Most people wing it. Good stewards plan it. That's the difference between you getting irritated about how much tax you pay and knowing how little the IRS is getting from you. If you want to be a good steward of your portfolio, but don't know where to start, schedule a call with us using the link in the description in this video. Let's start by how we map your money. 3 buckets, 1 mission. The first bucket is your taxable bucket. Brokerage accounts, interest, dividends, and realized gains. The thing you may not realize is that you have 3 different tax rates from income in this bucket. Your original investment or cost basis is tax-free. That's right, 0 tax on this money. Most dividends and long-term gains in this bucket are taxed at 0, 15, or 20%, depending on your total income. Interest and short-term gains are taxed anywhere between 10 and 35% in this bucket. Being smart about the type of income you earn in this bucket is a great way to control your overall tax rate. The second bucket is tax deferred. For most people, this is your traditional IRA or 401k. Every dollar in this bucket is taxed as ordinary income, which is usually the highest tax rate on your return. But that tax doesn't apply until you take the money out. That's why it's tax deferred. Now, the third bucket is your secret weapon against the IRS. It's the tax-free bucket, Roth IRAs and 401ks. The money you put into this bucket has already been taxed. But what makes this so powerful is that every dollar of growth in this bucket is tax-free. That growth is truly tax-free income. The IRS never takes a piece of it. So you won't have to pay any tax when you take this money out of this bucket. So my first question to you is this. Do you know how much you have in each bucket? It's okay if you don't. Most people don't either. But if you'd like to know, schedule a free consultation and we'll help you figure that out. At a minimum, you'll feel better knowing where you stand. So David defaulted to just taking income from his traditional IRA, the most expensive tax bucket. Every dollar spiked his taxable income and made his Medicare premiums go up too. But we can flip that script. Start by harvesting gains from the taxable bucket in his low income years, then fill up the tax bracket with precise conversions that move money from the tax deferred bucket into the tax-free one. Same accounts, same dollars, but now a very different lifetime tax bill. So when planning your income, your first question each year shouldn't be, what do I sell? But how do I use the tax buckets this year to minimize my lifetime taxes? Imagine walking through a parking lot and you see money on the ground. Then you see another little bit and you walk a little further and there's more again. Do you stop each time, bend it down and pick it up? And how much does it make it worth the stop? A penny, a quarter, a dollar. The years after you stop working, but before your forced income, which are RMDs, are very much like that parking lot. Every year, you have an opportunity to use the tax code for your benefit rather than what's best for the IRS. You're picking up that dollar. Unlike that parking lot, though, once you pass on picking up the dollar, you can't go back. How you draw income from your tax buckets is locked in each calendar year. Once that calendar turns, you've lost the opportunity to pick up last year's dollar. Getting back to David now. We can use those lower income years to move money from the tax-deferred bucket to tax-free, up to the top of the most favorable tax bracket. We call this filling up the tax bracket. taking control today so there are no surprises tomorrow. When David is forced to take withdrawals later, it won't create a big tax problem and he'll have a source of tax-free income. So the point here is to be intentional about where your retirement income comes from. And here's how. Start with taxable. If you're already getting income from things like interest from bonds or CDs, dividends from stocks, or income from a pension or Social Security, use that for your core income. You can then realize some long-term gains and losses in your portfolio to generate more income for the year if you need it. Second is fill up the tax bracket. If you still need some more income, take it from your tax-deferred bucket up to the top of your current tax bracket. If you don't need all of that income, do a Roth conversion up to that amount. Use the tax-free bucket as a pressure relief valve. If you've got some extraordinary expenses that you need to cover this year, draw tax-free money to avoid paying too high of a tax rate. Now, just a little side note. People have heard me say, never touch tax-free money until later in retirement. And I still believe that, but it isn't a rule, it's a tool. You should use the tax-free bucket if it makes sense. Let's see how this all works in a real-life scenario. You have two different 63-year-olds, Alex and Jordan. Both have some pension income, but each needs another $90,000 from their portfolios to cover their comfortable lifestyles. Alex decides to raid his tax-deferred bucket in these early retirement years. His taxable income spikes, and his Medicare premiums will be higher in a couple years as well. He walked right past the dollars on the ground without picking them up. Jordan, on the other hand, draws from the taxable bucket first by harvesting gains and losses thoughtfully. This then gives him some room in the income tax brackets to fill the tax bracket each year with small, precise Roth conversions. Now, 10 years later, Alex is still taking money out of his IRA, but is also paying capital gains in his taxable accounts. Jordan's IRA withdrawals are smoother and tax controlled because some of it is tax-free. Same portfolios, different lifetime tax bill. Want to see your version of the Alex versus Jordan scenario? Schedule a call with us by clicking the link in the details of this video. So let's now unlock the biggest tax saving move you will ever make because it explains everything, it's completely legal, and the IRS hates it. Deliberately convert tax-deferred money into tax-free, paying tax now and on purpose. Sounds backwards from what the financial media has been telling you for years. But a known controlled tax today can be much cheaper than an unknown and higher tax tomorrow, especially if it prevents large forced withdrawals that drive you into higher tax brackets and make more of your other income taxable. Now, I'm not saying convert everything, but every year reevaluate how much income you need and where it is coming from, and convert precisely what makes the rest of your plan cheaper. Control is the operative word here. And you don't do this by intuition because this is counterintuitive. At Advanced Wealth Advice, we create a proactive retirement plan for you that minimizes your lifetime tax liability. We do this by first generating annual income from the most tax beneficial sources. Second, by adjusting the tax allocation of your portfolio every year, and then by executing a tax-aware investment plan. All of this can, depending on your unique financial situation, dramatically reduce how much you end up paying to the IRS over the course of your retirement, sometimes by hundreds of thousands of dollars. Imagine next year being very different than years past. You'll know exactly how you're going to take income from your portfolio. Your tax return is boring. There are no surprises. The ups and the downs in the stock market don't rattle you because you know your withdrawals are diversified across tax buckets. Your forced withdrawals don't push you into higher tax brackets. And you've got a pressure relief valve, tax-free dollars that you can draw on whenever life hits you with that curveball without creating a new tax problem. You can make all this a reality by scheduling a free initial consultation. Just click one of the links in the details of this video to either watch another video that describes more about how we work with clients or find an open time slot right now. Thanks for visiting our Hot Take videos. I hope that you finish each one feeling a little smarter than when you started. Thanks for watching and have a great day.